The EarSauce podcast.
So, yeah, guys, we've got two really big albums this week. Two really big ones, two monsters. But we've also got a few other albums as well to go through. But, this week on the EarSauce podcast, we are discussing Benny the Butcher, Burden of Proof, and T.I. the Libra. They're definitely the two standout albums of the week.
No. Disrespectful to my man Frisco as well. I had him in there.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, Frisco's album was very, very good.
Big Fish made a good album, but
Frisco's album's very good. Yeah, like, I'm not even trying to disrespect that guy.
It's not up there.
It's not in the same. It's close.
It's not in the stratosphere.
I'm very impressed with what he did as well. To be honest with you, I didn't expect that from him, but no, I have to say that T.I. and Benny, they I won't even say they leveled up because T.I. has done it before, and I know Benny's got some great bodies of work as well. But yeah, we've got a lot to discuss on these two projects.
Let's start with T.I. I'll let you introduce this one, Matt. I'm going to take Benny.
Because he's my favourite.
Yeah.
He's my favourite rappers. Okay. T.I. has released an album called The Libra. The Legend is Back running Atlanta. I think that name in itself is actually mad braggadocious when you even think about all the artists that are coming out of Atlanta right now. Atlanta's probably the heart and soul of rap music right now. Now I don't think that's even overplaying it when you say that. There's so much talent in Atlanta.
Quick question: were all the featured artists from Atlanta?
I believe so. I believe they actually are.
Yeah, I feel like that.
I can check it. Maybe I don't think actually. Maybe
I don't think Benny the Butcher is either.
Yeah, Benny's from New York.
Okay, got you.
And 21 Savage is from
East London.
He's a new in general, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely from North Carolina.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so how do we get to this? So T.I. released a couple of tracks recently that, in all honesty, they didn't really capture my attention that much. One of the tracks that he released was called Ring, and that is with Young Thug. And I think that T.I. and Young Thug always have like amazing chemistry when they work together. And this is something which I find surprising because, well, it's not surprising that they have chemistry, but that I like their music because I'm not really a fan of Young Thug. So him being on the track could easily detract me from liking the track. But in this case, although it didn't capture my attention amazing, like for the most part at the beginning, when I listen to the song again on the album, it really fits in very well. I really appreciate the skits that take place throughout the album as well, which are spoken words, essentially poems, and sometimes the speeches by one of T.I.'s daughters, Deja. And just the collection of features that's on this album. There's so many features on this album. I don't think T.I. could ever tour it, to be honest with you. Like, I think, two actual tracks on the album haven't got a feature. The rest of them have a feature on there. And the list of features is crazy. You got Snoop Dogg on there, Jeremiah, Mozzie, Lil Baby, Young Thug, as I mentioned before. Rick Ross is on there. He has his own son, Damani, on there, which they have an amazing track together called Family Connect. When I heard the background to that track as well, it quite fascinating, I guess, good way of describing it. The fact that his son essentially doesn't want to just like jump on his dad's coattail and rise up the ladder that way. He's really trying to break out in his own path, and he's taking a lot of steps to respectfully distance himself from his father's legacy, which I think is pretty cool. Jadakiss and Benny the Butcher are on here as well. So yeah, you've got like a lot of great features. One of the best features is actually Killer Mike. But yeah, there's so much to talk about on this album. The flavour of the album is essentially T.I., as the name suggests, he's back and he's showing everyone how influential he's been in the music scene in Atlanta and America in general. I had a heated debate about this a few months back, where I said that T.I. at one stage was the biggest rap artist in the world.
Yeah, that's a lie.
That's not a lie. Well, and as you can tell, Ollie was in that same group chat, and he was saying to me that that's not true. But it was.
It's not true.
It's not true.
There's not a single year when we went through this. There's not a single year when he was the biggest.
I'm sorry.
There really wasn't.
I don't.
To be fair, there was a track that T.I. I forget what it is.
Swagger Like Us with the same Jay-Z, Kanye West.
No, it wasn't a rap. It was like a mainstream song that
Live Your Life?
blew up.
With Rihanna.
I think it's Live Your Life, or was it written? Is it written in the stars?
That's Tiny Temper.
Damn it. Yeah. So.
You also had Dead and Gone with Justin Timberlake.
That's the one. It was like that.
So he's had these songs which put him out there in the proper mainstream. So like I said, at one stage, it wasn't a long period of time because I think that when he was really popping off, he ended up going to prison for some.
That was when he released Paper Trail, innit?
Yeah, but if you remember correctly, he went to prison twice. What did he do? He went to prison for the gun charges, and then come out, and then he went back in again for drugs, for being in possession of drugs whilst he was on parole. So anyway, my point is he's telling everyone how it stays in the game. He's talking from a much more mature perspective than he was in previous years, where he's maybe being a bit more of a loose cannon, shall I say, with some of his rhymes. Yeah, but this time he's a lot more mature, and a lot of the artists he's actually featured on the album, a lot of them are, I would say, are younger than him, and it's almost a case of him passing on his experience and expertise to them, and you know, showing how our OG, how our boss does things. So yeah, some incredible songs on there. Honestly, I had a real struggle picking which song is my favourite.
I had a clear winner for my own.
Yeah, same.
Really? Pardon was a great song with Lil Baby. Moon Juice with Snoop Dogg was crazy as well. You got Respect the Code of It Cross, which was again a crazy one. Family Connect with the money already mentioned. Having T.I. go back and forth with his son on the track is incredible.
Which track was the one that had the Biggie sample?
I can't remember. Do you know which one that is? Ollie?
That one was nuts.
I can't remember that one either. I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what it's called.
When that sample came on, I was like, "Oh, how did he?"
He has a couple of strong samples on this album as well. He does have that. How I Feel with Killer Mike. Killer Mike's verse on that is actually incredible, and that song is related to like, the BLM movement. So
absolutely,
that was a very powerful track. Also, We Did It Big with John Legend, where he's reflecting on what he's gone through, which was a crazy song. And also, Thank God with 21
The track's
Savage.
Hypno, by the way. One of the biggest samples, Hypno.
Okay, yeah, that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Hypnotize on that. I think that my favourite is probably Family Connect. That's because of what they're talking about in the track and the fact that I just can't get over what Damani's doing. I think it's incredible what he's saying on that track. So yeah, that's my favourite though. What do you guys think of the album?
So to be honest, I'm not the biggest T.I. fan. Like as a person, he's top tier. Like I think
you're a T.I.
what he stands for, I'm fully behind. He's true to his word, and he handles his business like a real man. I just remember the time he ran up to Floyd and banged him right in the eye one time. But
that's crazy, you know, to go and bang a boxer
and walk out unscathed.
And it's not when like T.I. is even big, like because obviously Mayweather's not a big guy himself, but T.I. is mad skinny and small, so that is incredible. And he didn't run up in there no entourage; it was one man by himself.
Listen, he handles his business like a G. Like even hearing the story about the gun charges and how he got caught and stuff, like he handled it like a G. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, I like T.I. I think I started to like him when the King album came about. I've always been a Ludacris fan, so I've always preferred Ludacris over T.I. And when they had their beef, I kind of picked a side because I was young. But as I've grown older, I've grown to like T.I. more and more. And what I will say is this album, it took me a few listens before I really got on board with it. So it's quite a long album. It's over an hour, I think. The first couple of listens were kind of broken because of the length. But then I've had time to just actually take the album in its entirety. And what I'll say is that it starts strong and it ends stronger than it started. Like, the skits that are funny are genuinely hilarious. And they just set up for the next track, or in the case of the intro, it sets up for the actual intro track. I was thinking about when she was saying it, she wanted to sound on Ice Cube's nipple. But no, the album is really good, and what I love about T.I. is he's actually dropping genuine content that is deep, and it's kind of stuff that the music industry lives and needs, and the fact that he's brought in the younger generation who tend to not really rap about anything conscious or deep to spit on some of these tracks, I think is like a really good thing from him. It's like, listen here, this is how you're supposed to do it, partner. I got my hat tipped to the side. But no, he's just showing them like that there's another layer to rap, and that it is an art form, and that you can talk on issues that may be sensitive or anything like that. It's a really well put together album, and the fact it's so long and it's still engaging right up to the end is a testament to how good it is. I don't really have anything bad to say. I think there's like one or two tracks that I didn't like, but for like a 21 track album or something ridiculous like that, let me check. It's 20 tracks.
20 tracks.
I think 3 or 4 of them are interludes. But it's still a really, really good album. And there's a few powerful tracks like How I Feel, where Killer Mike, he's actually been on a spree of like solid features lately, but Killer Mike just spazzes on the beat and he puts a lot into perspective. It's just a really, really good album. Like you can't fault it. Normally albums this length, like you get a bit of fatigue listening to it, but this album is just really good.
Especially the current trend as well. Like most albums nowadays are about 40 minutes long. So to have this like proper full length, hour and 20, or whatever it is, it's strange and it's good.
It's just really good. And 2 interludes that are really good is Air and Water, which Rhapsody talks on. I was kind of disappointed she didn't rap, but the way she spoke, I kind of took it as a rap in a way. But that was phenomenal. But then his Daughter's Conclusion, that was like the icing on the cake. And when that happened and nothing was playing after, I was actually mad disappointed. Like I wanted more. So I really like this album, and generally speaking, I think it might be in this top 3 albums alongside King and Paper Trail. But obviously that's up for debate. I know Matt might have something else to say against top 3, but
it's up there, definitely up there. But T.I.'s got some amazing bodies of work, in my opinion. So, and sometimes because of, I think what happens with music in general, we people fall foul of recency. And when I say that, I mean when something's newer, you forget how good the older album was. So, for example, with T.I., you got like Trap Music, which was a great album, and you've got Heavy as the Hair. That's another great album. You know, there's so many albums that he has that are good quality that people sometimes forget about them. Urban Legend was crazy.
Urban Legend was good, actually, to be fair.
Yeah. So you know, it's like, I don't want to just forget about them because of the fact maybe the music has aged a bit. You got to remember how good it was when it came out.
I was just checking through my notes for what I put down for T.I.'s album, and literally all I wrote was dope, because I just really like the album. Yeah,
that's what
honestly, if there's one thing you want to listen to this week, well, if there's a few things you can listen to, make this towards the top of your list. It's actually it's a solid album, and my standout track is Family Connect. The way him and his son just go back and forth, and it's a fact that I feel like his son spins him on the track. No, like you can actually break it down. He actually, like, there's a lot of depth to what he's saying, and he's talking for a lot of these rappers who have sons around his age or a bit older who are living in their parents' shadow, and like I don't doubt what he's saying for a word. Even like with how T.I. is, and it all seems believable. So for me, I think that's the best track on the album. But sometimes I feel like there's two standouts, and I want to give an honorary mention to the track with Killer Mike, which is How I Feel. That's some powerful shit. I can't say anything else. It's just powerful.
What was the other standout that you...
Family Connect.
What I will say as well, just to echo what you're saying, right? The way T.I. is as a person, you listen to his music, right? And he talks about his children quite a lot and how he raises them. And even if you just look at the names that they have, like Damani, King, Major, or the Heiress, these names are like they're meant to be like exactly when you're speaking into existence. So what his son is doing is essentially what he would want his son to do, without him actually telling his son specifically to do it. If that makes sense. So yeah, you got to rate him as a father in a sense. Like it looks like his kids kind of have their shit together. I think one of his daughters has a baby coming at a relatively early age, but it doesn't mean that she's not going to succeed in life as well.
And I think this album kind of cements T.I. as puts him in the conversation of top tier. I wouldn't say it necessarily makes him top tier, but it definitely puts him puts him in the conversation. There's so many people that can be actually in the conversation, but then to actually just skip that conversation is like another level. Like he's not on the same level as Nas or Jay-Z, so he's not top tier, but he's in that conversation where you could talk about.
Do you know something, right? Yeah, and this is something I will say to her. Like, I feel like I do think that people saying he's not in that tier, I think they're influenced a lot by the fact that he's from the South. If he was from New York and he was delivering a similar message of the same quality of bars as what he delivers, I don't think it would be a debate whether he's
I think that's true for
top tier or whatever. But because of the fact that he's from the South, I think that sometimes he receives less credit. It's a similar thing with Rick Ross. Rick Ross, pretty much every album he delivers, and people still aren't sure if he deserves a seat at that top table.
I think there's a lot of truth in that. But what I will say is that the only reason why I still stand by what I said is because, to me, and I know you're going to be against this, but Ludacris is a superior rapper. He has better bodies of work. He's more versatile, and even though he's been on his acting thing, even when he drops albums, the content is still really good. Like,
I will say I won't dispute it as hard as you think I will, because I think Ludacris is a great rapper. I think he's got crazy flows, and I think his music is fun more often than not. I don't think his music has the same level of depth as T.I.'s, but I also think that's partly because of the fact that maybe with me, I gravitate more towards gangster rap than other forms of rap, and obviously Ludacris isn't a gangster rapper. So that's probably part of that might skew.
Yeah, I think I'm more towards
but anyway.
Cool. No, guys, I've let you guys go. Let me have my...
Man, he's just going to come in and just trash it now,
No way. I put some respect on my guy T.I.'s name, man. Come on. What's it called? Yeah, this album was really good, man. I enjoyed it. It was easy to listen to top to bottom. I really enjoyed the interludes. I felt like T.I. has probably been sitting and working on this album for a long time. I feel like probably like in the first half of the album, he was looking for more of like a clubby kind of tracks that you could, play in the club essentially. And then it comes to the second half of the album where you can definitely feel like the BLM impact on the album as well. So as you mentioned, you both have mentioned already, like the Killer Mike track is amazing. No one can ever doubt that. My personal favorite was the John Legend song. Like,
excellent song.
It was like everyone sees John Legend as like a cheesy guy kind of thing, but man, can that guy produce an anthem? Like, I could, in my head, I was just visualizing where you'd play that song, like in a piano in a stadium. T.I. rolling, that is a huge track. It's an anthem. Do you know what I mean?
It's funny you say that because I actually pictured the same thing when I heard the song as well. So I'm in agreement with you there. Definitely.
And also, I do want to point out, like, Benny, like, from Benny Butcher and his whole Griselda gang, like, are these guys, like, stuck in a studio 24/7? Because they're on
Griselda gang, you know.
they've got tracks for everyone, literally, like, that was...
They be putting in work, man. They be putting in hungry.
Work. Like, I was impressed. It's like, what the hell? What else? Yeah, it's a solid album. Really enjoyed it. Stand-up track, John Legend song. Obviously, I really enjoyed the Biggie, that Biggie track, Hypno, as well. Rick Ross track I enjoyed too. The track was called
Respect the Code.
Respect the Code. I wasn't so much a fan of Ring, Too Tough, I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was quite forced. And I did like Half a Ticket too. So yeah, that my take on it is, yeah, that was my take. It was a really solid album. Probably better than a lot of rap albums I've listened to recently.
I really appreciate your words there, Manny. So if you would like to, let's just carry on and tell us what you thought of Benny the Butcher.
Wait.
What?
I'm starting this one. And
I've
seen it from time ago.
Someone's excited. I think I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna put this out there right now before you even start. Yeah, whatever you say about this album, I think you're overcompensating because of what you said about West Side Guns, what you said about Conway's, and what you said about Armani Caesar. I feel like because you were negative about them, you were negative Nelly, you're gonna be overly gracious towards.
So let me start off by saying I've made some what would seem controversial comments about some of the recent Griselda drops. Now I've been harsh because I expect better. Okay? Armani Caesar
dropping like every week or every 2 weeks, something like that?
Yeah, like a week or 2 weeks. Like as a whole, Griselda's work rate is really good. Like, it's really high. Yeah, and when you consider the work rate they put out, the quality of the stuff is actually quite good. With that being said, I made some bold statements about Armani Caesar, which I'm doubling down on. Okay? I made some bold statements about West Side Gun, which again I'm doubling down on. And I made some controversial statements on Conway. Now I gave Armani a 1, West Side a 2, and Conway a 3. And I feel like this album here by Benny puts all of that into context. Now, I went in and I had my notepad out. I was ready to write some flames to continue the controversy because I thought they were all going to drop subpar stuff or decent stuff. My boy Benny, he came through. Now, people were getting on to him about when it was going to drop. He was saying, wait. And to be fair, it was worth the wait. So I'm just going to start off with the standout song, and then I'm going to dig a bit deeper. One Way. That song has everything you need. The beat, crazy. The lyrics, crazy. You want to chuckle? You're going to chuckle. Like
It's what one way flight her.
Yeah. The one like Freddie Gibbs and his bars, like, just funny, man, just funny. Like, but to start off with, the album, it starts with what I was missing from the other albums. Like, there's a bit of energy here. There's a bit more character. It's a bit more out of that basic New York style. It's a bit more out there, and that's the kind of thing.
Did you feel like this album was more well done?
100%. Like, this is what I expected. Like West Side Guns. That was okay, but it just got monotonous and it was just too boring. There needed to be more variation. Conway's was good, but it felt too long, and again, it needed more variation. Benny's managed to drop hard-hitting bars on exquisite beats. Like, these beats are phenomenal. There's energy, and it just continues to amp up as you go through the album. Like, it goes from strength to strength to strength. There's literally there's nothing wrong you can say about this album. It starts off better than the rest of the Griselda albums, and it just goes up. There's variation, there's depth in lyrics. Like it's just a really, really, really good album. The features, solid features. Every single feature kills it. Like you're never going to skip a track. And it's an album where you can listen to the tracks in isolation, and it's also an album where you can just stick it on and listen to it, and you're not going to get bored. Like it's such a good album. Like there's nothing else I can say other than like I was blown away. It was just sick. Actually.
Are your socks still on, or did they leave you as well?
Listen, they are hitting the wall right now. The socks have flown off. Like when I was listening to Armani Caesars, my socks were over my head. I pulled them up. Like the album, I just expected better of her. And the thing is, when she featured on West Side Gun's album, her feature was incredible. Was it West Side Gun's album or Combo's?
It was on West Side.
Yeah, her feature was incredible. So I just don't understand how she could not drop an album with quality that good throughout the whole thing.
I think when we start recording these pods with a video to accompany it, I think we're gonna have to do Ollie's sock watch as part of it. That's got to be. That's got to be a feature.
If you can see how animated my hands are moving, like my hands are moving all over the place. It's crazy. But yeah, even
mate, don't make a mess.
I'm not gonna. But even Dom Kennedy, I've never heard Dom Kennedy rap so good on a feature. Like I don't know what it is, but everything about this album, it just works. Even Big Sean's verse, I don't think he kills Lil Wayne, but he comes close to bodying him. Like,
I feel like Big Sean should have gone last on that. I think it was kind of cold to do that. Lil Wayne basically dropped the best verse he's dropped since he come back to rap, you know. Yeah. And I think it did Big Sean a disservice to put him last there. Like, Big Sean probably can rap a verse as good as that, but he didn't on this occasion. Lil Wayne's verse was outrageous.
Lil Wayne's
and that might actually be the best verse on the whole album, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really like Freddie Gibbs's verse as well. And obviously Benny's got a lot as well.
In terms of features,
I fully agree with Matt there. I'm not gonna lie. I think that was the best.
Benny's verses.
Benny had a lot of good verses here, but I think maybe it's to Lil Wayne's advantage that he didn't done the one verse in it, but what he did, the flow, the hype, the wordplay was crazy on what.
Do you know what? Yeah, it brought flashbacks to like Carter 2, Carter 3 Wayne.
That's what I'm talking about.
When I heard that, I was just thinking,
yeah,
damn, Wayne's good. Like the last time,
obviously,
actually, what was you gonna say?
I think obviously also that you got Rick Ross. Rick Ross, to me, he wasn't even trying very hard. He was like really good quality that he always drops, but without him actually trying to go and do anything crazy. And Freddie Gibbs' verse, I really liked it, but part of the reason why I liked it, like you said yourself, is the comedic factor. Like it was actually jokes. So I think Lil Wayne's one just had everything. It was funny, it was excellent, the flow, it was just hype.
So I feel like Freddie took it from me, then Wayne, then Dom Kennedy.
Dom Kennedy's is crazy.
Dom Kennedy.
I'm not gonna lie. The person who did the interludes did it for me, man. I felt, did he get the money in the end? I was worried about it.
That little ongoing story was just
Do you know what I mean? That was jokes. I was like, I'm gonna get that 50K.
But this just shows how good the album is. Like, there's so many different layers to talk about. It's a perfect mix as well. It's 12 solid tracks. Listen, I love this album.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of you, Ollie. I think definitely, like, I concur with a lot of what you're saying, and I'm glad we all touched on the Lil Wayne verse because, I was so happy to that. It's not that Wayne is good. I think he brought back Wayne, if that makes sense. That Wayne's been gone for a long time, so to have him on a was really spectacular. And like I have nothing else really to say. Like I was really.
That's what you're gonna say. Okay, fair enough.
That good.
No, honestly, like it's that short and sweet. Like everything you guys have said, from the interlude, from the track list. Okay, if I was to be negative Nancy, maybe it wasn't. I can't even say it wasn't structured. It was structured. It was
Actually,
good. I can't say
off the back of that, I did write one negative in my notes, and I actually listened to the album like 4 times trying to find a negative, just because I wanted to stick it to the Griselda group one last time. No, I'm joking. But, I feel like the little skits at the end of the tracks should have been separate. I feel like
so you can skip them easier.
Yeah, that, but I just feel like sometimes I just want to listen to a skit anyway. I just laugh at them.
I hear that. So you're saying because you liked it so much, it should have been separate. Okay. Anyway, my view, I don't want to sound negative because I actually quite enjoyed the album as well. But if I've got any negative, I would say that there were some tracks in there that I didn't think were that amazing. So, for example, I didn't think Famous was great. I didn't think New Streets was great either. But the thing is that Famous and New Streets come in between the 3 best tracks on the album, which is One Way Flight, Timeless, and Over the Limit. Yep. So it negates that a bit. The other comment I wanted to make, which is a bit probably nothing to do with the album at all, actually, but seeing as she's actually on the album, Queen Naija, her chorus that she done was quite good. And Thank God I Made It. But have you seen the pictures of her from her birthday party? Wow. And the pictures of the cake next to the cake, crazy. They're on the shade room, if you ain't seen it, jump on the shade room, and I'm sure they ain't deleted them. But yeah, I thought the album was really good quality. And although I didn't fully agree with Ollie's ranking of the other albums that came out of Griselda recently, I will definitely say this one is definitely head and shoulders above the others.
And that's it. That's what kind of like backs up the ratings, because West Side is definitely better than Armani's, and Conway's is definitely better than West Side's.
So Conway got a 3, right? And West Side got a 3, and Armani got a 2.
Yeah.
So I think a 4 is a good rating for Benny to them. Yeah.
We didn't say what standout song was either.
Yeah, my standout song was probably One Way Flight as well. Freddie Gibbs is just jokes. I didn't think on Timeless. I think Lil Wayne absorbed so much energy from Timeless that the rest of the song wasn't as good. I really liked Thank God I Made It as well, actually. Queen Naija's got a beautiful voice.
That was good.
But yeah.
My standout was Timeless, straight away.
I'm going to say One Way Flight. But let's rate both these albums.
Yeah, so what I gave my rating. What's your rating? T.I.'s album's a 5.
T.I.'s is a 4.
And Benny's a 4.
And Benny's a 5.
Benny's a 4 for me.
I'm just the reverse of Matt. Benny's a 5 and T.I.'s a 4.
What's your one, Manny?
They're both 4s.
What is wrong with you? Why are you like this? Why are you like this? Honestly.
What?
Seriously.
I'm experiencing both of you. You've both given you don't understand. I'm not going to give a 5 lightly.
It's not giving them lightly. These are sensational albums.
Strong, sensational albums, but they're not 5s, man. Come on.
Okay, let me back up my...
A 5 has to be, what's the word? It's like
the resistance.
Revolution. Yeah, like after you have it, like you something happens to you. Do you know what I mean? I've really enjoyed these albums, but like, and they have replay value, but do you know what I mean? They're not going. I'm not going to be listening to them in 10, 20 years.
I honestly think that you could easily listen to these again in 10, 20 years. I don't think the subject matter is going to change or anything like that. People are still going to be selling drugs. Black lives will still matter in 10 years and 20 years. So.
Okay, maybe I'll listen to him 10 years, but I think you guys know what I mean without me like eloquently saying it. Like every now and then you do get like masterpieces, and that is what I'm gonna label as a 5. These are great albums, but they're not like a Kendrick, Good Kid, Mad City. They're not.
My beautiful dark twisted fantasy.
My beautiful dark twisted
Gotcha.
fantasy.
Benitez.
Or what? 50 cents.
Get rich.
Why do I get rich or die trying? Do you know what I mean? Like, those are like timeless. Like, and no disrespect to T.I. and Benny the Butcher, but I'm not quite sure if these are timeless yet. Maybe I just need to live with them a bit longer. But
I can understand you saying that
right now.
And I think sometimes people, and the nature of this podcast is to do that, where we rush to a score, and sometimes you don't really know what a score of an album really is until a long while after. But I would comfortably give this as a 5 to T.I. And to be honest, Benny's one for me could be given as a 5 as well, because it's actually a very good album. But at the same time, I can't get my head around giving out 2 5s in one day.
So for me, wild. I think with a 5, there's a few factors that need to be put into play. Is it flawless? Is it fresh? Is the content good? Are you going to come back to it? And I feel like Benny's hits all of these. There's tracks that aren't as strong as others, but in their own individual right on the album, those tracks are still great. And I also feel like there's not really a bad point about the album. Like, in my mind, it's flawless. There wasn't a track where I got bored. I didn't want to skip it. It's just great. And they're both feature heavy, but so was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And I guess that moved the sound forward for music, but then Good Kid, Mad City didn't. That was like a retro sound. And so I don't think you need to have something that's revolutionary in order for it to be a masterpiece. And I feel like what Benny's done, and when you compare it to like what Griselda have done and what's come out of New York recently, 100% is a 5. And in fact, they could Get Rich Without Trying. That wasn't really revolutionary. It was.
Okay, hold on 1 second. What you're saying then?
But my question is, so you're comparing Benny the Butcher with the other Griselda projects. Of course, it's going to look like a 5 standing next to the other Griselda projects, because he's been dissing the hell.
Let me double down on what I'm saying. I use that as an example, but I said for whatever's come out of New York. Like, even if you look at whatever's come out this year, like if I'm just going to put it on like for this year and just rate music for this year, like nothing else, and then I'm going to compare it to other 5s that I would give out. If I was to do that, I think it's still up there. I think it's still in that conversation.
Okay, so going by what Ollie just said, right? Ollie, what's the last great album that you think came out of Atlanta?
Out of Atlanta? Might be Ludacris's last album. Actually, wait.
Can you take the piss out?
No, Rick Ross. His last album. Rick Ross's last album. That album was sick.
Okay, so when you compare T.I.'s album to that album, what are you saying?
That's a bit of a sticky one still. Because...
There you go. So T.I.
Because, no, wait.
There you go.
It's not flawless. It's great.
It is flawless.
It's a great album, but it's not flawless. I think the track of Young Thug is a bit meh.
It's flawless, bro.
And like, I think there's a few tracks.
Okay, but I said, this maybe I get that maybe you feel that way, but I felt that way about Benny the Butcher's album. I said there were 2 songs on there that I didn't think were great, but because of the fact that they wrapped around other good songs, it means that you notice it less.
So then I don't understand why you're both like upset that I've given them a 4, because you've both found holes.
Because
I've just gone straight.
I've decided it's a 5. That's why.
Well, your decision isn't law, mate. You can take a seat.
Look here, law man.
At the end of the day, we found holes. We found holes in both of these albums, and but these are minor holes, but large enough to not make them a 5. So I think
Benny has.
Unfortunately,
I feel like T.I.'s holes are. Do you know what? Yeah, I feel like the criticisms for T.I.'s thing is those things are put there to build like publicity for the album and to help it sell and for radio spins, I reckon. So I guess like those couple of tracks that I'm not feeling, that I feel lose their focus for the rest of the album, I feel like you can sort of overlook that. So I feel like if Matt's going to give T.I. a 5, he also has to give Benny a 5. Like, he can't just be blind to Benny's accomplishments here. Let's not forget that he's not on the same tier as T.I., but this album is going to...
That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
That's
Can I make one more point, please? Just one point. So with regards to T.I., the reason I'm not going to give it a 5 is because I think T.I. changed tack halfway through the album. If the album was purely based on the first half of the album, which was like trying to make club bangers and stuff, I don't think it would have done as well. So I think in a way he's lucky he responded to what was going on in his community. And
I disagree with that, because I don't think any album that's just a one track all the way through is going to be a great album. You can't just be talking about one thing all the way through the album. We literally talked about that with the DBE album last week. It's about one thing all the way through it, but it gets boring very quickly. So you have to switch it up. And I feel like he's done that throughout. One part of it is club bangers, one part of it is BLM, one part of it is talking about like stocks, investments, and how to maintain yourself as you age and develop as a person. Yeah. So it's got plenty of different stories in there that he's talking about.
Well, I think you're agreeing with me, Matt. You listen to what you're saying. What you're saying is the same thing. Like, I'm not saying that.
So it makes it a stronger album.
It does make it a stronger album, but had all of this not erupted in the last year, I personally think that he would have stayed with the first half. But lucky for him, he's like, he didn't need that first half of the album, if I'm being honest. That whole club banger stuff, I reckon if T.I. would have stuck to the meaningful parts of that album, he would have been good.
You can't take away from someone for speaking on what's happening in the world around them.
No,
you can't do that.
That's a good thing.
Okay, but you're saying that if he didn't do it, then the album would have been worse. Okay, all right.
I'm saying the album suffers from him maybe making generic.
You're saying there's a bit of identity
for the club
in the album.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there is an element of identity crisis at the start, but then when he gets into himself towards the latter portions of the album, that's when you can start arguing for a higher.
I'll ask this question: if the album was just the second half, so the last 10 tracks or whatever, would that be a 5-air album? Because personally, I don't think it would be. I think that it would have essentially been too boring. It'd be one of those things what J. Cole gets a lot of. So when J. Cole did For Your Ears Only, for your eyes only.
Oh my goodness.
When J. Cole did For Your Eyes Only, he got a lot of stick for people saying the album's boring, because all he was talking about for the whole thing was like his family, his kids, and whatever. Wants to fold clothes with you.
I love that album.
My point is, many people find it very boring because there was no switch up, there's no change of pace, and I can understand that. You have to have I feel like every album needs to have a little change of pace. Even 50 Cent, when he did Get Rich or Die Trying, it was gangster almost all the way through. Then he was asking 21 questions. You have to change up a little bit at some point. You can't always just be going hard on.
Bro, 21 questions was shot in the jail.
Mate, that's the video. The song is about a guy asking 21 soft-ass questions to his woman, bro. Come on, man.
Gangster, bro. Don't tell me.
Oh, my God.
He kept it gangster throughout the whole shit. Anyway,
gangsters don't fall in love, right? That's what I thought it is, Their hearts stay cold. That's not how it goes, man.
And if they hate, then let them hate and switch the style up.
There you go. Fuck 50.
Anyway, I'm not saying. I didn't...
So anyway... So can we either come to a resolution, or do we have to double back on this one at the end? Or are we just going to give it? Is it 2 4s or 2 5s basically? I think that's what it's come down to right now. And in all honesty, I think I would feel more comfortable with giving 2 4s, because I feel like giving 2 5s in one day is crazy. But at the same time, there is an argument.
I feel like
these two
Benny's is definitely a 5, and I feel like there's an argument for T.I. to be a 5. But like you, it doesn't sit right with me giving out 2 5s because then it like devalues a 5. Can we give it a 4+?
But guys, don't the amount of 5 you give a day. If you feel from your heart it's a 5, argue the point. Don't worry about it.
How about we do it like Apple and give it a 4S? How about
4 ears and a mouth.
No. I don't think
it's
4S is enough.
mate.
Wait, we've handed out so many 4s.
Yeah, album, man. Think about John Legend. Think about John Legend and how he was on that piano playing his heart out and singing his heart out. And
Wait.
We gave to make that song sound good.
Tory Lanez a 4, okay? Yeah.
Tory Lanez is a fucking shooter, bro. He's a shooter.
Tory Lanez got that 4 because it was the music, plus it was the narrative, it was everything. Like that was just drama. Do you know what I mean? This is
more man was definitely
any of these albums sound better than any of the past 4s we've given so far on this podcast.
Yeah, they do.
I would think.
I'd say both albums sound better than Tory Lanez.
Best album we heard in the podcast thus far, right?
No, I don't think.
For me, both of them have that title. Alright, so hold on, Ollie. Do you agree that it should both be 5s? Because if you agree that it should both be 5s,
I'm saying let's circle
actually
back to this.
Manny. So what are you saying?
No.
Okay.
The reason why
No, that's fine. What's the next one?
Albums we've given 4.
What's the next one?
So we gave a 4 to Edna.
Okay.
It's definitely better than Rocky Fresh. That got a 4. It's definitely better than Savage Mode 2. That got a 4.
Go on.
What a Caps in the Bucket Cat. That got
What
a
else
3.
got a 4?
Taylor got a 3. Like, we've given out quite a few 4s to be fair. And I feel like it's better than those 4s.
Okay, they're not both 5s though.
They're both 5s.
Crabs in the Bucket. Crabs in the Bucket was a great album.
One now.
Like, don't devalue the 4. Like these. Listen to
I'm not
Crabs in the
devaluing
Bucket
4.
and tell me it's not on par. It's not on par with T.I. and Conway. Are you saying that it's not on par with them? Is that what you're saying? Ollie, is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
It's not on par with what, sorry?
With T.I. and Benny the Butcher.
Well, Crabs in the Bucket?
Yeah.
Nah, it's not on par. It's not on par. Nah, it's a
great album, but
it's a solid 3.
It is on par.
There was some issues with it. It was a solid 3.
Crabs in the Bucket.
Manny is really fighting for this 4.
No, I just want a 5. I want the 5 to be a unanimous feeling. I'm not getting the unanimous feeling.
Let's circle back. We're spending too long here.
You know what? No.
Young Bleu,
Let's not cut Manny off like
deluxe version. No, we're not cutting them off. I'm saying we need to let it stew in it. Let's do some other scores. We've been on this one for like over half an hour. Let's do 2 albums. This is wild.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah? Alright, cool. So the next one on the list, let's do one I think we all agree on.
This one's going to be
Frisco, a familiar stranger. Right, let's do that one. Oh my god, I'm tired. I'm going to bed, man. I'm tired.
Manny kick this one off.
Man.
BBK.
Yeah, man, you go.
Woo! Their finest. One of their finest has stepped out with a phenomenal album. The Familiar Stranger. Man like Frisco. I hope I did your introduction very well, mate. No, I really enjoyed this album, man. It was grime, it was rap, it was dancehall, which was a shocking but welcome surprise. Like, I thought, like, this is probably the best BBK album that I've heard in like years. I feel definitely better than Skepta's last project, and I'm going to use this as a direct comparison to Dizzy's album when it comes out, because whilst Dizzy's a legend in his own right, I kind of feel like Frisco is in the same class. Does that make sense? Like, not as in the same class of legend, but same class. Yeah, he's above Frisco in terms of what he's brought to the game. Like, that's undeniable. But what I'm saying, like, yeah, same. That's the word I should have used.
From the same era.
So I'm going to use that as a comparison point.
Yeah, definitely.
Really strange because he's
100%,
he's brought in young MCs. He's on this one. He worked with Skendo, which was a really good track. Red Card was amazing. I really liked Money Call, man. That tune there.
That's me as well, man.
No, this was a solid track, man. Solid record. It definitely has replay value for me. It's not. I don't know if I haven't got many criticism for it, to be honest. I really like the skits a bit as well, but they weren't as good as, let's say, a Benny the Butcher skit, but it had its own charms. It was relevant to us in the UK. He had his BLM track on there as well, right at the end. Black Man, enjoyed that. Colours was good. Hearing D double, when you hear, is it just me, or whenever you hear D double, you just get gassed? Yeah.
It's
just that.
It's just a default.
But okay, cool. Let me wrap this on up. My favorite track, shout out song is Money Call. Oh, you had some controversial views. Let's hear that.
Okay.
When it first started, I was like, it's just Big Frisk. Like, I was like, this is going to be sick. And then all of a sudden the beat changed up. And then it just went trash. So I was like, this is going to be a hard listen. But he pulls it back in Sleepless Nights, Karma, and Half Full, Half Empty. Half Full, Half Empty, that was like a really sick track. But then the track with Mez, Big Bro, which was the next track, I can't stand Mez, and that track was trash. Like, it was a really, really bad track. I'd have been so much happier if it was just left off.
Really? I don't think it was that bad.
Okay,
like,
so...
do you know what I mean?
Are you okay?
I think I really dislike Mez. It just wasn't good to me. Jador wasn't that great either. I think there was... And the answer was... It was a bit of a weird track.
The answer was quite similar to like the Rapsy interlude. It was just like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it felt like an interlude and it turned into a track. I would have preferred it to be two separate things.
Okay.
So I didn't like how it was like one thing. Like, it was kind of long. And it was just like it was. I just didn't get it. Like, it didn't sit well with me. But straight after that, Money Call happened. And like, I put my speakers on like 100 and just like that track is special, man. Like,
do you know how annoying it must be for an artist to have a banger like that and not be able to have that like rotate in a club?
Yeah.
That must. Do you know what I'm saying? That must be so painful, man. Like, because that would blow up.
That could have put him back on the map, and that could have like been a catalyst for BBK coming back and stuff. Like, it's a really big track.
Yeah.
But then other than that, like, the rest of the tracks are actually really good. Black Man, I'm loving how everyone was touching on BLM on their albums. And he didn't disappoint there. Like, I always like Frisco, and I feel like he dropped some really good tracks here. I just feel like there's some really bad tracks as well. Big Bro anyway. So it's a bit of a mixed bag for me. Like, Thuggish started off good, went trash, and then Big Bro was really bad. Colours was wicked as well. Gets is on fire right now. Get a Gospel too. Ever since that album, he's been untouchable. Like, he's really put himself up there, like, next to Wretch, in my opinion.
I'll never forget seeing... Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't even dispute that.
Yeah, I'm saying I'll never forget seeing Gets at
Yeah.
Canning Town Station with my boy Ozzy, and then Ozzy shouts out to him, "Yo, it's free too, yeah." Like he had that track. What was that track called again?
Oh
Yeah, it's top three selected. He was like, "Oh, it's top three selected, yeah." And then looks at him and gives him gunshots. Like as Jenna, like, oh, I'll never forget that.
Well, yeah, like my standout track. I'm torn between Colours because like the content is just solid there. Money Call's just gas, but then Blackman's really good. So I'm torn between the three, but I'm probably gonna go with Money Call.
So standout song, definitely Money Call. I feel like we all agree on that one, and I also agree with you. Like Colours is hard, Red Card is hard. There's a lot of hard songs in there. I really quite like Karma. Karma was like that. Maybe a song I wouldn't really expect from Frisco, but I really appreciated it. So that was good. I think the whole album was good. I don't really think there's any really poor songs. Like the way Ollie's gone on about Big Bro, I didn't get that impression. I did think to myself at times it became a bit repetitive. But I just because of the fact they say Big Bro quite a few times, but that's about it. Apart from that, I thought it was cool. I really enjoyed the album. I feel like the way I'm talking right now is like it makes it sound like I didn't like the album that much, but the reality is that these guys have just sapped away my energy for talking about Benny the Butcher and T.I. episode. But no, in all seriousness, I really actually did enjoy Frisco's album. And I will be honest in saying this is one of the albums I listened to last because I didn't expect much from it. And Frisco's delivered above and beyond. And without putting my foot in it, I don't think I've heard a better album come out of BBK. I'm not saying that there isn't one that exists, but I just haven't heard it. So yeah, really enjoyed it. So now we get to the tedious part of giving it a score.
Wait, I'm interested. Before we move on though, like MBBK, what major artists do we have? We have Skepta.
So Jamie's actually made quite a few
Jamie.
good tracks. I haven't listened to one of his albums. His last one wasn't on stream, but I heard it was actually really, really good.
Albums.
Oh, did he?
He released it on streaming after. Yeah. And before we go any further, one of them was in prison. Which one's in prison?
Yeah, Solo.
Solo.
I think.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, let's forget about that, guy. But I think what's it called? Has Jammer released an album recently?
As well.
I don't.
No, he hasn't. He's been doing Lord of the Max with everything else.
This probably Konnichiwa is probably what I would say is probably the best album from BBK, right? Would that be in agreement there?
I feel like is Doing It Again an album, or is it EP?
Doing It Again was the first one. No, it wasn't. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That was that was a good album. I look at the tracks again. That was a very good album, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I thought this was a lot more polished. I think that album, Doing It Again came out at a time when maybe UK artists weren't operating on the level that they're operating on now. And I don't know what's changed, but something has changed that just makes the music that everyone makes better now. Like when you look at the first examples of music like as albums that come out from Skepta and Jamie and that, right? And then you compare it to like what Hedy released last year with Music X Road, right? It's daylight between them. Like Hedy's albums are so much better as a mixtape was so much better as a first project, right? So my point is that I just feel like the music that comes out of the UK is just so much better now. Like what Frisco's done now, it just seems so much better than what's come from BBK before. Konnichiwa was a very good album. Ignorance is Bliss was a very good album as well, but I didn't think
you're
that they
entitled to
were as good
opinion.
as
That makes sense.
don't mean shit, but
cool. So what are we rating it, lads?
Yeah, I think this could be a 4.
I think it comes in at a 4. Maybe not at the same strength as Benny Butcher and a T.I. album, but it's up there in terms of how good it is.
Nah, it's not in the same conversation.
Yeah,
I
agree. It's a 4. It's in the same class.
No, I think it's a 3.
Do you agree it's a 4?
I genuinely think.
You think it's a 3?
Like the thing is, I'm torn between a 3 and a 4.
Oh
But like, if we're gonna give Benny and T.I. a 4, then this can't be a 4.
I'm not giving it a 4, bro. What's that making to you, bro? If this is a 4, then T.I. cannot be a 4. So I'm fine with
own definitions, a 4 is an excellent project, right?
I can't execute this. I'd say
it's an excellent project.
Yes, it is. Yeah. We have the list on Twitter, don't we? So you can even refer back to that if you want.
Cool. So that's an excellent project, and T.I. is an excellent project, and Benny the Butcher is an excellent project. All excellent projects.
I think T.I.'s album is a masterpiece.
I think
the same with Benny's as well, to be honest.
Frisco's album is good work. Maybe great, but it's not excellent. Excellence is strong. It's got excellent points in the album, but as a whole, it's not excellent. But I'm out. No. I'm out voting.
Are we doubling back to this one as well?
I'm out voting.
Cool. All right, then. So we got a 4.
Frisco is pushing the genre further with this. It's a good album. Like, it's not. He hasn't let his side down. It's really good. Come on, like, what more do you want? What more do you want?
I wouldn't say it's pushing the genre forward, though. That's the thing. I feel like it's quite safe, apart from a couple of tracks.
I'm gonna stick with 4. If you want to convince Matt to lower his score, please plead your case.
No, let's bring on the young.
I'm not lowering it. I think it's a 4. I genuinely think it's a 4, and the reason why I say it is because I genuinely enjoyed all of it. So I remember I gave Kids on Drugs, J. Cole's album, 4 ears way back, and I kind of feel the same with this one. That the album isn't perfect, but it's really enjoyable. So yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Young Bleu.
Who's next?
No, you said Black Thought.
Oh, Young Bleu. Okay.
Yeah.
Introduce that.
Yeah, that's where you were going.
Okay, there's a Streams of Thought, Volume 3, right? Okay, I'm going to keep this one short because we've just been bloody dragging on some of these other reviews. I really love Black Thought, and when he's with the Roots, I think he's like amazing. When he does freestyles, I think he's amazing, and he has many songs of his own that I think are really, really, really good. However, I really couldn't connect to this album. I just felt to myself that the raps all made sense. The beats weren't bad, but I didn't really enjoy them, and it just. Whatever it was about the album, it just didn't quite come together for me. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those ones whereby I'll come back and listen to this album in 6 months' time and I'll like it. But right now, I just can't get my head around it. And I think it might be because of the fact that I've enjoyed Benny's, The Butcher's album and T.I.'s album so much that I'm kind of struggling to enjoy Black Thoughts. I don't know if it's possible, but I just didn't connect for me. I don't know if I've even got a favourite track on that album. I don't really have a favourite track from this album, to be honest with you. If anything, it was probably State Prisoner, which is track 2. And I think that my rating for that album would be 2 ears. That sounds blasphemous, to be honest with you, for someone of Black Thought's caliber. But yeah, I just didn't.
So this was the first album that I listened to. So I don't think I had the same issues that Matt had. And I really liked it on my first listen. My standout track was Staken, which features Schoolboy Q. And the content's really good. It's really good throughout. Killer Mike does another great feature on this album. Pusha T's on the same track, and it's actually a really good track. The album as a whole is consistently good. There's not really a weak point. Some of the tracks you wouldn't really just play again sometimes. Like I can't fault it, but at the same time, it's not as engaging as some of the other tracks. I mean, albums this week. That being said, I did enjoy it more than Frisco's. So I don't know where to put it. I had it as a 4 or 3, but I'm gonna lean more towards 3.
Yeah, I agree with both your points really on this. Like, he's a very intellectual rapper, as we all know. Again, Killer Mike made a great appearance. I think this guy's stuck in the same Griselda camp because he seems to be on everything at the moment. Good Morning is my standout track. In terms of whether it swayed me the same way as the T.I. album or Benny the Butcher, probably not. Maybe because it was a bit more in depth and I probably need to sit with it a bit more. I'm not sure, but it didn't grab me immediately as the T.I. and Benny Butcher or Frisco project, in fact, did. So yeah, I think I'm going to give it like an average. It was just an average album. So 3 years.
Young Blue Love Scars Deluxe version. This is the one. This version of the EP.
Is this guy an R&B singer or rapper?
Okay, fair enough. So that means that's 2 against 1 vote again. So that is 3 years. Cool.
I don't know what he.
I think he's whatever he wants to be. That's the honest answer.
Okay, I'm glad that it wasn't just me thinking that then.
Go on, who wants to start this one?
This is my first time listening to Young Blue. So I didn't really know what to expect. But I was pleasantly surprised. I listened to it after listening to Mario, so it just sounded really good. I liked it quite a bit. I think it's a solid 3, and my standout song was Regretting Your Eyes. He's a good singer, not great, but the music's good. I don't really have much to say. I enjoyed it. I'm still listening to it now. Regretting Your Eyes.
Wait, which one did you hear the song, sorry?
I think, so for me, I feel like this guy is the Geldem Sugar. Like, he's the new Geldem Sugar, isn't he? Like, you can just see from the way the album cover is set with the muscles all on display and that. Jeez, this guy's coming for the scene, mate. And it makes sense if he's like an R&B, like they position him to be R&B/rap. I think he's going in that same Drake lane. That's why it probably made sense to give him the Drake stimulus package. But really, like, I'm not gonna lie, really, when like if you listen to that Drake song, it didn't blow my mind. That's probably the first Drake stimulus package where it was a bit like, do you know what I mean? Am I on an island here by myself? T.
And only said a 3, right?
So with me, right, Young Blue.
Okay.
I didn't even know anybody.
So with me, right, Young Blue. I didn't even know anybody knew anything about him. To be honest with you, I first come across him. Listened to K Camp's one of K Camp's projects recently, and I thought, this guy's good. He can really sing. I just thought he was an R&B singer or something. And then, so I downloaded, grabbed all of his projects, and I thought, this is not bad. And then this one's come out. I wasn't really. I don't think this is his best project, to be honest with you. I think his previous one was better, which is called get the name. Since We Inside, that came out this year as well. I thought that was better than Love Scars, to be honest with you. But I think people had a bit of a hype around this one because of the fact that Drake decided he wanted to feature on it. Cool. What did you rate that up, sorry? The best song on the project probably is Regret in Your Eyes, so I'm probably with Ollie on that. But I'm probably with Manny and saying I think this is probably 2 years. I don't think this is a great project.
Yeah.
I think this kid or this guy has a lot of talent though, and I think he'll do better and gain more success in the future. If anything, the best way for me to describe him is like if Future had a conscience, this would be the sort of music that he would make, and it's more R&B.
See, this is where when you said that, like
auto-tune on there as well.
Offline, so anyway. When you said that offline, it didn't resonate with me listening to him. Like he doesn't. I don't get the Future reference when you say that. Like he sounds more like a Trey Songz that can't sing as well.
But I feel like you get a lot of that nowadays. I feel like you get a lot of the artists that maybe can't really sing so well, but they just gather up with a bit of auto-tune, and then it's just accepted. People love it. I feel like I don't want to put anyone down when I say this, but maybe you don't have to have so much talent.
Like, by the way, when I say
to really
he sounds like Trey Songz but can't sing as well, like that's not me saying that he hasn't got a future. Please don't conflate the two. Yeah, he makes great music. It's just that.
No, I think he makes good music though.
Future's melodic, whereas this guy kind of is trying to sing like in a Drake style way. It does, yeah. But
yeah. There's a difference in really execute, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to watch his career unfold because, like I said, he has a buzz around him. This project isn't his best, but he has had better songs with other people and on his own. So I do look forward to seeing what comes next. But this project here wasn't amazing. I think people were just hyped because of the fact that Drake was on the first song, and which is called Your Mind Still. And I don't think that song was even that good. Like none of us said that was a standout song, so that says a lot.
So I want to take the time to spotlight features that we're going to do for a new artist. So we had a reach out from her agent, and the artist's name is Tara, spelled Tara, and you can find her on Apple Music, Spotify, and she dropped a single called Self-Deprecation. So I thought we should touch on this quickly. Personally, I thought it was quite a good song. Quite creative, quite fresh. It wasn't like I'm gonna probably listen to it again in the future. I've actually added it to my library, so I quite liked it. There wasn't many criticisms I had. The one thing that I could say is that maybe with more practice, her vocals will get a bit better, and that'll just make for even better music. But I think, given the opportunity, she might turn out to be someone really good.
You know what, right? I actually had the song on loop for about half an hour today, and I don't mean this in a negative way at all. I mean this in a very positive way. I forgot the song was on, and so it's not to say that it just drowned that into background noise, because that wasn't the case at all. But it was a case of the song was good enough that it wasn't annoying me, and that it was actually kind of half soothing, maybe. I don't know how to put it. So I think I quite like the song. I think her vocals are quite good. I think that her voice is relatively smooth, and high pitch sounds wrong. But she has a falsetto type of voice, if you like.
One last time, her Instagram handles at it's Tara official _.
Cool. And if you message her, by the way, tell us let her know that we sent you.
I do think that the production was actually very good. I really enjoyed the way the beat came together on that, and I like the short interlude before you had the full instrumentation come in. So yeah, I thought the song was actually pretty decent. Actually, we don't normally give ratings to songs, we normally rate albums, but if I was to rate this
Yeah,
song,
I agree.
I don't know. I'll
think
probably give it.
It's quite fair.
I think it'd be a 3 years, to be honest with you.
That's a good point. We didn't actually talk about whether we'd rate like shout outs. So let's. What I would say is the artist is what's her details again? It's
Tara, Tara.
Tara.
Yeah, that's her Instagram.
Tara.
Okay, cool. Check her out, guys. Definitely check her out. Like, I thought her vocals are really good. Would definitely love to hear an EP from her. One thing to mention is if you are an artist and you're listening to us at EarSauce, definitely contact us on @EarSauce_ on Instagram. Contact us @EarSauce_ on Twitter. Or if you like, send us an email. Preme versus Preme X.
I haven't got my list in front of me now.
Link up. Yeah.
Oh yeah. OVO is very own. Honestly, I liked it. I can say I liked it. I don't think like Preme music is hard to put. How do you describe Preme? It's music that you want to listen to. I think in a club environment or just like a shisha sort of thing, right? It's not like I don't think it's really music that you just like proper listen to deep it. I just think to myself that it was an enjoyable listen. I got the impression, I will say though, that it seemed like Preme was recording his project, and then for whatever reason, Popcaan was either added to it or they decided to add just collaborate after the event. If that makes sense, because I didn't really get much. It didn't sound so much like Popcaan's music. It sounded more like Preme's music. So yeah. That is what I thought about that. But I did think to myself it was a good project.
I'm the same. I enjoyed it. It kind of like bridged. It was a bridge basically between these two artists who I feel are very different in a way. It didn't feel very, very forced, but it also didn't feel very natural at the same time. Especially like on the Davido track, like it just felt like three separate entities, like kind of coming into one. Didn't mean the track wasn't enjoyable, it was, but yeah, like. To be fair, it would make sense because the thing's called Link Up. You know what I mean? So
there you go. Yeah. So yeah,
wait.
It wasn't a terrible project. It wasn't an amazing project.
Yes, I actually had this on loop for a little bit. It felt very westernized, so I was a bit disappointed in that. I wanted a bit more diversity in the music. That being said, I echo what these two say. So it was pretty good. My standout track was Murder. I thought that was a really good track, to be fair, actually.
You just love gritty East Coast rappers, isn't it?
Yeah, there was only one song I didn't like on that album, actually. That was Comfortable.
I liked Comfortable.
I didn't like Comfortable, but the rest of them...
Yeah, definitely, of course.
That's pretty... That was
my Naija, Davido, yes.
My standout song was Winning Queen. I think I just like Wiz Khalifa a lot, so yeah, hearing him rapping on that song, I enjoyed it. I give it. It's a weird one. I feel like this is actually 3 years, but it could be 2.
I thought it was
flexible.
Good.
What are you guys saying?
There's no two ways to put it. I just thought it was good.
No, I'm not gonna say it.
Mine's gonna say 1. I know he's gonna do that.
Yeah, nah.
He's gonna say 5. He's gonna put out like way out there or something.
2. I want to give it a 3, but I can't.
Give it a 3, man. Yeah, I'll give it a 3 too. That's unanimous because I believe that it was actually a really easy listen.
Yeah.
To be fair,
And what, 6 tracks?
to be
Already one of them I
fair, I'll
didn't
give
like,
it a
so
3.
that's fair enough.
I'll give it a 3. And that's only not because of you asking for it. It's because it has like somewhat replay value and it's quite smooth. But,
So I want to circle back to something really quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the sign for?
This pod. This is the first time I've recorded the pod. I've actually felt like my energy is just being sapped away from me right now.
I'm gonna be quick.
But
Looking at the Frisco track list again.
God, we never debated
And
the rating
absorbing
like
it.
this.
I'm gonna bump it up to a 4. I think a 4.
yeah, that's it. Do you know what I mean?
It's already a 4, bro. It don't matter what you give it a 4.
Omega, so
You really decided to 4. What's wrong with you, bro? Keep up.
Wait, did you forget the track list and think some of them were Benny the Butcher songs or something?
Okay,
I
so
listened to the track list again and actually
it's
quickly went through the tracks again.
No.
Nah, it's just I just really hate Big Bleu.
I think it just dawned on him that it's BBK, not Griselda. That's what it was. Okay. So before we double back, and go for the ratings again for the first 2 projects that we reviewed, can we do a couple of things? Can we drop some socials?
Okay, cool. Let's give it to them.
I know man loves doing that.
Yo, I want to see some likes on YouTube. Find us on YouTube. I don't care if you listen to us on Spotify. Find us on YouTube. It's at the EarSauce podcast and like a video. Just do that for me. But also follow us on Instagram, EarSauce _ so at EarSauce _ follow us on Twitter at EarSauce _ you can follow me on Twitter, Emmanuel Yates 90, or you can look at my Instagram, BigManny90. Matt.
If you want to follow me on Twitter or just Preme my tweets, it's at Mr. Matty Lee. And if you want to do the same on my Instagram,
if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at OCClark _10.
Did you guys ever hear about this story that Drake got pissed on a few years ago? Cool. So anyway, again, another thing before we double back to the beginning of this podcast, we used to talk about some funny things that popped up in the news recently. Yeah, I remember when this happened, and I honestly thought it was be something like there was a girl that couldn't hold her bladder so well, and I don't mean this in a sort of considerate towards women, but I just know that usually men are able to hold their bladders a bit tighter than women, and that maybe she tried to piss in a cup or something like that, and then it went on Drake. But what I'm hearing now, according to one of T.I.'s songs from his 5-star album, 5-Air album, is that one of his friends just pissed on Drake in a cinema because he was so drunk. He just ended up pissing himself in his chair, and it leaks out onto Drake. Like that is mad. That is so nasty. But I don't even know why T.I. said that, man. I feel like one of those things that.
A lot of that
respect
led
for Drake,
to
shouldn't have said it, but,
the blogs picking that story up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think, was that like marketing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it did. I think I maybe got TF's name out there just that much more, maybe. We had a couple of big music videos that dropped. We had the video for Diana, or Pop Smoke, which has King Combs in it, Christian Combs. And it has one of my favourite Instagram girls of all time, Aisha Diaz, just looking spectacular.
I still haven't viewed it yet.
I enjoyed watching that. Did you guys get a chance to view that?
Yeah, no, I liked it. It was quite artistic, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay,
It was filmed in New York, right?
Yeah, it's a good video. I think Pop Smoke could have.
I always find it amazing seeing like
Rest in Peace.
Diddy's kids.
I believe so.
Like, on the blocks in New York. I don't know why. I see.
Also, Geps and Skepta, they released the visuals for IC3. I think that song is excellent. The meaning behind it is excellent.
I really like what he's doing with visuals as well. He has a song with Mozambique.
It was the sound.
Yeah, the
Was it
visuals are sound as well.
Nice.
It's actually really creative. Really, really, really good video. I like how they go back and forth, and how it's portrayed in the video is really good as well. It's just sick.
I do not believe that these guys are walking around with no security as they appear to be. They must have people with them that in the background you can't see them, because these guys have got big jewels on them. Everyone knows how much they're worth, and Diddy himself, although he's probably a very loved person, he's loved everywhere pretty much. I don't think it's they say that it's better to be feared than loved, right? I don't think people would not touch one of his kids because it's Diddy. So I'm sure they walk on a security. Yeah. It really is. Yeah, Getz has got an album on the way for sure. Yeah, Drake's definitely got his album on. His album should have dropped already, I believe. So I don't know what he's actually waiting for. But I do think that J. Cole's going to have an album coming out now, and so is Kendrick. So are they all playing chicken and waiting for each other to drop first, or are they looking to do some sort of clash? So one person announces they're coming out on Friday, and the next one does it as well. I don't know. I could see J. Cole doing that sort of thing.
I'm just
I could see Kendrick doing it as well,
whatever part it is.
And I could see Drake trying to avoid that.
Album's coming.
So, yeah.
Kendrick's been shooting music videos and anyway, like all over the gaff, right? Yeah.
There you go. He was, yeah. That's
Yeah,
right. And Drake's already dropped one. I think he's dropped the one with Lil Durk, hasn't he? And J. Cole dropped 2 tracks off his album a couple months back, and nothing since then. So yeah, there's a lot going on with that. Yeah, so guys, can we just
I'm
get a
sticking
decision
with
now
4
on these
stars for
albums,
both, mate.
please? I'm tired.
Not changing it. 4 years.
I'm saying 5 for both, but I also do think that
And
if we're not going to be unanimous on 5, it should
for
be
both
5. A 5 should hold some sort of prestige. So if Manny wants to be stubborn,
No, the thing is, it doesn't. Let's not. The unanimous thing doesn't need to happen. Like at the end of the day, if you guys feel like it's a 5, then you guys win. I just don't think both of those projects are a 5. If Matt feels like one of them is a 5, then that one is a 5, based off of what Ollie said.
Are you giving me the executive powers? I appreciate it. So on that bombshell, T.I., the Libra, the legend, is back running Atlanta as of 5 years. And honestly, I believe that Benny the Butcher's album deserves it too. I do believe that. So, yeah. There you go. There you have it. After all that deliberation, we have 2 5-year albums in 1 week. Bloody hell. Who would have thought? Not me. All right, guys. I apologize for making you to listen to us rambling on for so long for this one, but it was a good part. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.
How long did we go on for?
See ya.
EarSauce.